What's the real reason you got chaptered out after serving honorably for years? I'll tell you, but you're not going to like it, because the Army sure didn't. I was a staff sergeant, 14 years in, 2 deployments under my belt. My record was spotless. Perfect PT scores, commendation medals, expert marksman. I was on track for sergeant first class, maybe even master sergeant if I played my cards right. Had my retirement already mapped out at 20 years. Then came Specialist Donovan Pierce. The kid was 19, fresh from AIT, assigned to my squad at Fort Stewart. Quiet, too quiet. The kind of quiet that comes from carrying weight nobody should have to carry alone. I noticed he'd flinch when people raised their voices. Noticed how he'd volunteer for every late shift, every extra duty, anything to avoid the barracks. One night I found him in the motor pool at 0200, just sitting in the dark next to a Humvee, shaking. "Pierce, what's going on?" I asked, keeping my distance, my voice low. He wouldn't look at me. "Nothing, Sergeant, just couldn't sleep." The fluorescent lights in that motor pool flickered and buzzed. I could smell the lingering odor of motor oil and the coolness of the concrete floor. Something in my gut told me this wasn't nothing. "Pierce," I said, sitting down a few feet away, "I've got all night." It took 40 minutes, but he finally told me. Sergeant First Class Wade Hargrove, our platoon sergeant, a 22-year veteran everyone respected, had been cornering Pierce, making comments about his body, touching his shoulder, his back, his neck. Last week, it escalated. Hargrove had followed him into the supply room, locked the door, and tried to force himself on Pierce. The kid fought him off, but barely. "Why didn't you report this?" I asked, my jaw so tight I thought my teeth might crack. "Who's going to believe me over him? He's got 22 years. I've got 3 months. And he told me—" Pierce's voice broke. "He told me if I said anything, he'd make sure I got chaptered out for adjustment disorder. Said he's done it before." I felt my pulse in my temples, that sick, cold rage that makes your hands shake. "Go back to your room. Don't worry about formation tomorrow. I've got this." I knew what I had to do. I also knew it would end my career. See, the proper procedure was to report it through the chain of command, file an official complaint, start an investigation. But Hargrove had friends at battalion level. He'd been grooming his network for decades. By the time any investigation started, Pierce would be destroyed, chaptered out, reputation ruined, probably worse. So at 0300, I walked to Hargrove's quarters, knocked on his door. When he answered, bleary-eyed and confused, I told him exactly what Pierce had told me, gave him one chance to turn himself in. He laughed, actually laughed. "You believe that little—" I punched him, broke his nose. When he swung back, I put him on the ground and didn't stop until 2 MPs pulled me off him. Assault on a senior NCO. Article 128 of the UCMJ, open and shut case. My 14 years of service meant nothing compared to putting hands on a sergeant first class. At my hearing, I told them everything. Pierce corroborated. 2 other junior soldiers came forward with their own stories about Hargrove. But because I'd assaulted him before any official investigation, the whole thing got muddy. The Army doesn't like messy. They offered me a deal. Accept a general discharge under honorable conditions, a chapter, and walk away quietly. Or fight it, drag it through courts-martial, and probably end up with a dishonorable discharge anyway. They made it clear. I'd already destroyed my career. Now I was just choosing how it ended. I took the chapter, left with nothing but my DD-214 and the knowledge that I'd flushed 14 years down the drain. Wade Hargrove quietly retired 8 months later with full benefits. Medical discharge for the injuries I gave him. The investigation went nowhere. Insufficient evidence, they said, because I'd contaminated the scene by assaulting him first. But here's what the Army never found out. 6 months after I got out, Pierce called me. He'd made sergeant, was thriving. He'd also connected with 11 other soldiers Hargrove had targeted over the years. They'd all kept quiet, scared, convinced they were alone. Together, with my assault charge as proof that someone had believed them, they filed a joint complaint with the Inspector General. The case reopened. Hargrove's retirement got pulled, his benefits stripped. Last I heard, he's facing federal charges for sexual assault spanning 15 years. Pierce sends me a card every Christmas. Says I'm the only sergeant who ever actually protected him. My DD-214 still says general discharge, but I sleep fine at night knowing that 11 soldiers didn't have to carry that weight alone anymore. Some things are worth 14 years.